Welcome to another episode of Newcomers on Fire. I am Miguel Abascal and I love connecting with our incredible community of newcomers and helping you navigate the journey in your new country. Before we dive into today's discussion, I have a quick request. If you have been enjoying our show and finding value in the stories and advice we share, please consider supporting the show by leaving us a review. Your feedback means the world to us and it helps us better serve you. So drop us a review and let us know what you love the most about this episode. Doing this also helps other newcomers discover our podcast, making it a valuable resource for more people on their journey to making their dreams a reality. Thank you for being part of our community and for your continued support. In this episode, we are joined by the outstanding Gabriela Gutierrez. She has been where you are and her story is full of valuable lessons. Gabriela will share her experiences where you will gain insights that can help you on your own journey. Gabriela's key message is simple but very powerful. Being yourself is your superpower. She will explain how just being true to who you are can lead to great success. Gabriela is a strategic thinker and she will talk about how she made a big decision when offered a great job. It's a story of making strategic choices that can set you on the right path. She will also reveal her secrets for job interviews, which helped her get hired on the spot several times. Imagine walking into an interview and leaving with a job offer. Well, she will share how she did it several times. And then there is the power of mentoring. Gabriela's story shows how having a mentor can make a huge difference in your journey. She talks about how it was a crucial part of her success and how you can tap into the power of mentorship too. Finally, Gabriela will give you her recipe for staying motivated. She has 4 key ingredients: people, gratitude, vision, and reminders. These are simple and practical tools that you can use right away to stay motivated on your journey. So, if you are a newcomer looking for inspiration, motivation, and guidance, this episode is for you. Gabriela's story of determination, strategic choices, and being yourself is here to help you find your path to success.
Welcome to the Newcomers on Fire show with your host, Miguel Abascal. Listen to people like you sharing their journeys, struggles, and their breakthroughs. Be ready to be inspired to take control of your time, career, finances, and future. Fulfill your potential. Become the person you're meant to be and make your dreams a reality.
Welcome back. Today we have an amazing guest. Her name is Gabriela. Gabriela, how are you?
Hi, Miguel. I am doing great, and I'm so excited to be here with you and your audience. How are
Oh,
you?
I'm super excited. I'm super excited because I know your story and I can wait for people to listen to your story as well. Um, just for everybody's benefit, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself? Who is Gabriela? How long have you been in Canada? How did you came to Canada? A little bit more of that.
Sounds good. Thank you. So, hi, everyone. My name is Gabriela Gutierrez. I am a proud Latina, born and raised in Tegucigalpa, the capital city of Honduras. I have been in Canada for the past 8 years, and it has been an amazing journey with ups and downs. But this is why we're here today, so I can share some of that with you. Um, I am a mom, a wife, a daughter, a sister, and I play many roles in my life. And in every single role, what I'm passionate about is about being of service to others. Professionally speaking, my background is in business administration. I have a few master's degrees, including an MBA, a master's in international economics, a master's in marketing, etc. And I came here to Canada as an international student. And then I worked my way into finding a fulfilling job. And that's why I'm here with you, with Miguel and, and everyone in the audience to share a little bit of that with you.
I'm impressive.
Thank you,
And
Miguel,
you
for having me.
Oh no, thanks so much for saying yes and for saying yes to share your story, which I find fascinating. And I love how you're so humble. It's like, oh, I just have a few master's degrees. It's like, oh boy, it just I know that's how easy it is to say like, yeah, just this and that, and also speak these languages, and I love that. So when you came to Canada, you came on the other side of Canada in Alberta. Tell us more about what happened. Did everything went according to plan? A little bit more about those early months, early years.
Absolutely. Yes. So my husband and I decided to move to Canada, and we are very, I would say, strategic thinking kind of people. So back when we were making the decision to come to Canada, we decided to move here by me being an international student at a postgraduate um, level. And then, so yes, I was an international student. I went to the University of Lethbridge in Calgary, Alberta, a beautiful city and a beautiful experience being there as an international student. And then our plan, so we pretty much had a plan in mind in terms of what we wanted to accomplish as immigrants, as a couple, as professionals, etc. So you were asking about if things went according to plan. My answer is no, they didn't. But since we are like, we consider ourselves like good, planners and strategic thinkers, I think many of the things that we encounter, we kind of knew that we were going to go through some of that. So my answer to you would be things did not go the way I wished they would go, like especially at the beginning. But things honestly didn't surprise me because I made a lot of research, I connected with people, and I tried to understand what I was going to face when I moved here and what was going to be my experience, not only as an international student, but mostly after graduating from university. So at the very beginning, Miguel, if I may share a little bit about my experience as an international student, and for anyone on the online who would like to, who is thinking about coming here to Canada or to any other country as an international student, I would provide the advice that it's a very strategic decision to come to a new country as an international student, because it puts you in a good position to meet local people, to meet people who are also coming from other places in the world, and it helps you get immersed in the culture, and learning, practicing your language skills. So I knew English from back home. I learned English in Honduras, but I came here and it helped me with, with my language, with my communication skills. It helped me meet new people. It helped me grow as a professional and as an individual by just being in the campus and meeting other students and learning from my professors, etc. So for anyone here who's thinking or considering going to university abroad and coming to Canada via the path of an international student, I would highly recommend that, because as you will see in my story that I will share today, I can I can assure you that one of the key successes of my story is that I completed educational studies in in this country.
I love your advice because, um, on the other hand, I came to Canada as a federal skilled worker, which means that I was ready to work and I was ready just to move and make my way. But interesting enough is that when you come and I came alone, I didn't have anyone to say, what, like I had this question or to reach out to a professor or to my colleagues to say like, hey, is anybody struggling the same way I'm struggling? Uh, but of course, there is a lot of newcomer agencies that they can help you and they give you a lot of advice. I joined them all. I did the program several times, but I think that part, to your point, your story, it's something that I think I like as well, because that took me a long time to figure out things, to connect the dots. It's like why things are not working out for me, and then I think that's why I want to ask you more about your first. How did you landed your first job, and what was your approach? I'm very curious about that.
Okay, perfect. So, so since I was an international student, I was only allowed to work part time. So my approach is okay, I'm going to work in something that is flexible, that I can only work the 20 hours that I was legally allowed to do that. And my approach was I printed 3 or 4 resumes. I went to the mall, to one of the biggest malls in Calgary, and I went to one specific store where I was okay. This would be like a great place where I see myself working while being a student. And then I'm a fan of that specific brand that is in that store. So I went there and I was there with my husband, and my husband told me, "Hey, Gabriela, I think like that person that's sitting there. looks like she works here, and she looks like she could be the person to whom you can hand your resume to. So I followed my husband's advice and I approached this person. It turns out she was a Latina and a newcomer, just like me, but she had been in Canada more years than me at that time. I think um, that was when I was approximately only 2 or 3 months in Canada. So I was very fresh and very new in Canada. So I approached her and I told her, hi, my name is Gabriela. I'm wondering if your company is hiring, etc. So we had a conversation. She asked me a few questions, and then she told me, "Hey, you know what? Like, why don't you stay and wait for the general manager to come back from her break? I would like her to interview you." And I was like, "Yes, absolutely. I can absolutely wait, and I'm gonna wait here for her to be back." So long story short, I had an interview with her for about 40 minutes. The general manager just asked me, basic questions as an interview that you might imagine for a sales associate position. And then she told me, you know what? After the interview, she told me, let me connect with the other manager and let me come back to you in a few minutes. And then I said, yes, okay. So she came back and then she told me, the job is yours. And I was
Wow.
like, what? Really? Like, I was expecting something like, okay, we're going to call you or something. So my story is they just hired me on the spot. And that was the very first store that I approached. And I was just so
Wow.
amazed and so grateful about that.
That's incredible because some people say like, "Oh, Gabriela, you are lucky," but I know you, and I know that you prepare yourself. So I think my grandma used to say the definition of luck is to be prepared for when the right opportunity shows up, and I think that happened because I know that you prepare a lot. So definitely doing that interview on the spot, you were already there in terms of telling your story and all of that, and also connecting with somebody else that had a similar cultural background. I think that was also very strategic to your point. So you got the job.
Y-
That's incredible. And then what happened?
I Yes, so I got the job, and then so I was earning just I wanted to share I was earning $10 per hour, which was the minimum wage in Alberta at that time. And I still have one of those pay stubs. You know what, Miguel? Just because I want to remain humble on
Yes.
where I started and where I believe God has taken me. So I keep one of those as a reminder. So yes, so what happened next? I then decided, okay, I want to look for another position, to grow a little bit more. I was working as a sales associate, and back home, so maybe 3 months earlier than that, I was working as a manager in a very prestigious company in Honduras. So it was, quite a difference, right? Coming from
Mhm.
being a manager, having a team under my responsibility to lead them, and then moving into a sales associate. So you can imagine, right, the difference, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was thinking, okay, this is what's best for me now. I need to work on something that is works strategically for me. I need something that is flexible because my priority is my studies in university, and that job allowed me to do that. So then, what happened next? I said, okay, what's my next most strategic move towards growing gradually in order to achieve what I wanted, which was getting something that was equivalent to my manager role back home. So what I decided to do is I applied to a another retail company, and in this specific scenario, what I did is I applied for a sales supervisor role. So I was gonna have, like, people reporting to me and all that. So there was a little bit of, like a some progress in my career. And I went to the interview. It went fabulous, and in a matter of hours, they just called me back and they gave me the job. So I didn't even have to wait for one day. Like they again like hired me on
On
the
the
same day
spot.
that they interviewed
Yeah.
me. Yes.
That's
And
incredible.
yeah, and you know what, Miguel? Thank you, thank you. And you know what, Miguel? Like, they were like sharing a little bit about those two experiences in retail. I had, my biggest gains from those experiences were getting what we call here Canadian experience, right? Getting immersed in what is to work in a Canadian company, to work with Canadian customers, to work in the way that is, acceptable and most and the best way, to work in a Canadian environment, which is different, right? There's in every cultures there's differences in the way you work, the way you communicate with your supervisors, the way you approach your customers, etc. So I was learning that. So to me, I mean, from a role perspective, like, yeah, I was a manager and then I was a sales associate and a sales supervisor. Yes, it was quite a change, but to be honest, I stayed humble and it was very hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was very hard, but I try to see things from the perspective that I was gaining a lot. I was gaining experience, I was gaining exposure, I was growing as a Gabriela, moving towards that goal that I had in mind.
And what was your goal at that time?
My goal at that time was to graduate from university, and to graduate with a very high GPA. I put myself with, like, high standards, and I was like, I'm gonna go to that country and I'm gonna conquer every
Yeah.
single thing I do. Or I mean, that was my plan. And then, so my goal was to graduate from university and then try to look for a job that matched my skills. So something along the lines of, a managerial position or a position that required someone with education, university education, including master's degree, which, was my background. So my goal was to find something equivalent to what I had back in Honduras,
That makes
and
sense.
something that would fulfill me, something that will be fulfilling, because maybe something really like 100% equivalent wouldn't be here in Canada, but something that in which was going to be able to find joy and excitement working as a professional here in Canada.
Yeah, completely sense. So that's in Alberta. So now you're in Toronto. What happened?
Okay, perfect. Yes. So when I was working in those retail jobs, as soon as I graduated, my goal was to find a job, that next job that I was going to be able to work full time. So remember that in my first 1.5 years, I worked only part time. So now I wanted to move to a full time job, and then that's when I'm going to share with you and the audience that I experienced the power of networking and referrals. So I spoke with, when I was about to graduate from university, I spoke with a friend of my husband. They were like former coworkers in Canada. And then I told him, you know what, like, I'm almost there in completing my studies. I'm going to graduate soon and I want to look for a job. Um, and then he told me, you know what, like, in the current organization where I'm working as a volunteer, they are looking for another volunteer who's willing to join the administrative team. They want this person to work for maybe 3 months as a volunteer, and then if the company likes them, they're willing to give them a permanent position, permanent full-time position. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, that sounds like the most strategic next move. I'm working just gradually, right, toward what I want. So I knew that it was almost impossible or really hard to go from a sales supervisor to a manager, right? It was going to be hard. So I was like, okay, that sounds like something that I would be willing to do and that I would be excited if it's the right organization. So then he started talking, okay, this is what the company does. It's a nonprofit that works for the government of Alberta. They support people with developmental disabilities, etc. So I was like already engaged in okay, learning more and the vision and mission of that company, which is something truly important to me. When I go to a job, I like to, I interview them, I interview whoever is interviewing me to understand if I would like to work with that person, if I would like to work towards the mission and vision of the company. So that was like, okay, yeah, I can see myself, going to that interview if you can prefer me, right? And then he was like, yes, I would absolutely like to work with you. We would be co-workers. And then he told me, okay, this is the email address of the hiring manager, and he told me, send your resume and a cover letter, and I will advise her that you have been referred by myself. I went ahead and did that, sent my resume, my cover letter, and I said, I am, excited. I would be excited to work with you. I am willing to volunteer my time with the possibility of working with the organization full time, with a permanent position. They invited me to an interview. I went to the interview and it was absolutely amazing. I think I'm
Yeah.
so grateful that whenever I go to an interview, I feel I'm able to, in the best way possible, communicate my value and think and talk with, with whomever I'm talking to, and think about a partnership where, I'm bringing my skills. I like your vision, etc. And how do we connect those pieces, right? So I could tell Miguel from the look in the other person's eye that they were liking what they were hearing from me, and I was liking what they were saying. So I was there at the interview with the hiring manager and the HR person, both asking questions to me. It was a like I think like an hour long interview, and then at some point towards the end, the hiring manager looked at the HR person, and then she said, "She's the one." And I was
Wow.
like, "What, really?" Like, and I was like just looking, and then the HR person like hesitated. Is it like, are you sure? Like, I mean, we have other interviews,
Right.
and overheard them, like talking like they didn't want me to hear it, but I kind of heard. And then she said yes, like she's the one, and I was like, okay. And then so again, Miguel, they hired me on the spot, and they what it's something truly amazing, and this is what I want to share with the audience. Sometimes life is beautiful, and life gives you, a bunch of gifts and blessings, and in this situation, like I was blessed with not only getting hired on the spot, but remember that I told you that they were looking for someone to volunteer for 3 months.
Yeah.
They told me, you know what, you don't need to volunteer, we're giving you the permanent position today.
Wow.
And I was like beyond grateful. Like, I was like, wow, this is such a blessing, and I was so grateful for that. And then I started working in that administrative job. I enjoyed, working there. There were times, to be honest, where I was feeling frustrated in the sense that I knew that there was something ahead of me that was more compatible with my skills and with my ambitions, and with how I saw myself as a professional. So that's when, I worked for that company for over 2 years. I was promoted while being there to a financial technician position. And that's when I was working there, I traveled to Toronto. I remember you asked me the question about
Mhm.
how did you move from Calgary to Toronto? What happened there?
Right.
So yes, so while I was working in Alberta in that nonprofit organization, I visited Toronto with my husband. We were walking one day in downtown Toronto. I saw a very tall building, which I was fascinated with the architecture, and I was like, "Wow!" I told my husband, I will work there one day.
Wow.
And then he told me, I believe you. You will work there one day.
Exactly.
um, uh, yeah. And then, so a little bit over a year or a year and a half after that moment where we visited Toronto as tourists, we decided to move there. And this is where, Miguel and the audience, this is where I thought about my next strategic move. Calgary and Alberta, well, they are very dependent on the oil and gas industry,
Yeah.
and the prices of gas and oil were very low at that time. So we anticipated, okay, things are not going to be so well. Like, and we anticipated as professionals, we need to move somewhere where we find better opportunities that match, our vision and our goals and everything. So that's how my husband and I decided we're going to move to Toronto, with the main purpose of finding something better than what we have right now. My husband is an engineer. He's trilingual, English, Spanish, French, and he was working at a supermarket. He's
Yeah.
also a newcomer, like many of you who are listening here. And then he was frustrated. He was not working in his industry. I was somehow, fulfilled because I knew that I was, making my way. And I was like, okay, let's, as a family, you are a team. So I was like, okay, we're a team, we're gonna work towards my professional goals and his professional goals. We decided to move to Toronto, and this is where I landed a job. I'm just gonna keep things short. I'm landed a job in that, remember that building I told you?
Yeah.
That's the company that hired me.
That's
Scotiabank
incredible.
hired me as a senior business analyst. When I went to the interview, I was blessed, to be interviewed by two amazing people. I was like, yes, this is what I want. This is what matches my skills. I know that this is what I want to do at this point in my career. That was like my dream job at the time, and I was I'm very happy to say that, yeah, I got the job. And not only did I get the job, I applied for a job. They called me. So the person who called me from the bank, they skipped HR and they called me, hey, do you want to come for an interview? And then HR
Wow.
called me on the day that was my interview, and they told me, you know what, like, wait, we need to interview you first. But I think like the person who was looking to hire me was so excited to meet me that
Yeah.
they forgot about that piece. But they eventually did it. Of course, they need to follow their processes, and they absolutely did. But it's like, that just represents how excited they were to meet with me. And then they didn't give me the job that I applied for. They When they interviewed me, they told me, you know what, I can see you in this other position, which is a little bit more than, I mean, the pay is a little bit more than what you applied for. So I was blessed with, with that opportunity. And then sharing a little bit more. So what happened next is I was working as a senior business analyst. I was, so happy, so fulfilled. It's one of Canada's top banks, Scotiabank. And then I was eventually, I became a mom. I took my maternity leave. I eventually went back to my job, and then I was promoted to a manager position. So Miguel, it took me 7.5 years, 7.5 years to get to find an opportunity that was equivalent to what I had back home. 7.5 years.
Yeah.
And I know that for me, that was my time. I'm grateful that it took me that long because learned so many things along the way. And I wouldn't be the same Gabriela that I was when I was back home if I hadn't had all these experiences. And this is my message to anyone listening. Like, when my mindset, Miguel, at that time, well, sometime in along the story with that I have shared, has been, oh, I need to go back to what I was before. I need professionally speaking, right? I need to go back to that. I need to get back on track. But then I realized that my thinking was wrong. My target was not being who I was 7 years ago or 5 years ago, because even though I was going to have the same role, a manager, I was not going to be the same manager, because now Gabriela has
Yeah.
so much experience personally, professionally. So if anyone is listening here and is feeling frustrated and they're thinking the way I used to think, let me tell you, like, you're not going to be the same. You are going to evolve as an individual. And I learned that, I had bad times. And Miguel, back when you were asking about my experience in retail, there were days, to be honest, that I cried and I felt defeated. I felt frustrated. I was looking forward to the day that I graduated, because there were things that I just didn't like, that I didn't enjoy, that I didn't see myself doing that job. Not because there's something bad with the job, but it's because it was not
Yeah.
matching my expectations. And because I was thinking, Miguel, like, my parents have invested so much in my education. As you said, yes, I have a few master degrees. I earned a a scholarship to study in Europe, and it's, a scholarship that is worth um, maybe like 30 or 40,000 euros. And I was like, is this what someone who won that award is supposed to be doing?
Right.
I was like, no, it doesn't seem right, right? But then I think there's, just like myself, many newcomers, they need to experience that, being humble in the process, and knowing that if you go back is not the right word. You're not going to go back. You're going to grow into something with much more experience, and that's going to lead you to be a better individual, a better human being, a better professional, a better friend, a better spouse, a better whatever role you have in life. And I'm just so grateful about that, Miguel, and that you are giving me this opportunity to share this with others who would be inspired and who would be motivated, because it's a challenging road. I have heard your story too, Miguel, and I know and I'm humble enough to say I cried many times. I felt frustrated, but now I am fulfilled with what I have and what I can see ahead of me, because I know, just like me, all the newcomers here in this country are meant for great things, and it's just a matter of time and effort that they get there.
Oh wow. I even have like goosebumps just by listening to you. I'm always so inspired by your message, Gabriela. So many things to unpack here. First of all, I think if I can describe you in one word, I would say blessed, the chosen one, because your story keeps repeating again and again on how many times you have like the doors of opportunity have opened to you like really really clearly, and that is one of the things I have more curiosity. In your story, like 3 or 4 times, you were higher on the spot. Like,
Can you just explain us a little bit how you prepare? What is your your mindset? How do you come to that interview process? And maybe that will help us just understand what is the secret, Gabriel, because your story is like it's incredible. It's like, oh, I think she's lucky, but no, I think she's more than lucky. She prepares a lot. She comes really with everything. And you mentioned you communicate your value. Tell us more about how you communicate your value. Tell us more about how you prepare for the questions, and that will help a lot. And after that, I have so many other questions. Oh boy.
Perfect. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Miguel, for all your words, your sincere words, because I know they are genuine and sincere. So, in terms of interviews, I think one thing that I would like to share with you, Miguel, and everyone is being yourself is your superpower. And this is something that if you remember from a panel that we were invited to, something that I shared at that time. But this is something that I truly believe. Like being yourself is your superpower, and that is the key to my success. I know who I am. I am not trying to be someone else. I am trying to be myself, because if I'm going to go to an interview, I don't want to pretend that I am someone else. For example, I sincerely admire you, Miguel, and I look up to you because all the things that you have accomplished, all the things in which you inspire other people. But if I try and pretend to be you or to be someone else or to be my boss or my colleague, I'm going to fail terribly because I'm not meant to be someone else. So when I go to an interview, I do, first of all, a lot of research on the job. What is the job? What is in between the lines? There's things that the posting is not going to tell you. And you need, like someone who's interviewing, you need to master the skills in understanding what's in between the lines, because they might ask you questions, or that's when you can make a difference when going to an interview. So if they're talking about, okay, they're looking for communication skills, presentation skills, whatever is that you find there, think about what else is in there that the company's not telling you, and how are you filling that? How are you providing value to the company with those things that you feel like? You need to be very strategic and in reading what's in there and trying to understand what's behind, right? The other thing, understand the company. So every time I go to an interview, okay, and understanding what the role is, what they are saying, and whether or not they are not saying, what is the company. And before applying to a job, I try to be true to myself, and just out of respect for myself and for the company and the people who are hiring, is this really what I want? Is this company in alignment to my values? If it doesn't, Miguel, I don't even apply. I don't even apply, because I know that when people are going to interview me, they're going to notice that I am not a good fit for them, or that they're not going to good fit for me. So that's how I eliminate from my list companies and jobs that are don't align, so that I strategically go to the interviews where I feel that I can provide the most value. So when I do all that research, a lot of self reflection, I think it's very hard. And I can understand if someone is listening and saying, oh, that must be very hard, trying to do that for every single job that you apply. You don't need to apply to 1,000 jobs. You would need to apply maybe to 20 or 100, but do your homework and prepare. So, yes, I do all that research. I prepare myself. I try to look for, what are they trying to, what are they looking for, and how can I back up every single line item that they have in their requirements. How can I say, okay, Gabriela is prepared and knowledgeable and experienced in that, and that's what I communicate. And then how I communicate in my answers, okay, what value I'm bringing, not only fulfilling that I know how to do that or that I have learned how to do that, but how I go above and beyond that, and how I would be humbled and honored in performing those, you know, roles, responsibilities, tasks, or wherever that is. And my another key would be confidence. People will know if you're confident or not, and that will play a key role. The most skilled workers are not the ones that get the job. It's the better communicators and the most confident people. Because if I am hiring someone or someone is hiring me, they want to know that with confidence, this person is going to work towards the goals and help them accomplish whatever organizational goals or department goals they have. So that would be my advice and my secret to success.
Yeah.
in interviews, Miguel. Be true to yourself, prepare, and don't apply to jobs that don't really align with what you believe in.
Wow, that's just incredible. And one of the reasons that we met working at Scotiabank was because we did a mentoring program. I would like you to share more about your story about the power of mentoring, what happened, and then where you are today, what are you doing?
Absolutely. Thank you, Miguel. So, yes, so this is where I remember sharing earlier that I experienced the power of networking and a referral, right? That was amazing. And now, via a mentorship program that Miguel has put together at the bank with another team, um, I encountered the power of mentorship. So, I was working as a senior business analyst. And then I at some point I was like, okay, like I want to grow, but I don't know when I'm going to apply and when's the best time to do that. And then I encountered this, mentorship program, and I was like, they were launching the pilot, and I was like, I'm in. I want to learn about this. I want to be mentored. I have never had a formal mentor. I've had other people, coaching me, and I'm learning from them and being my informal mentors. But this program was about having a mentor matched to myself and other candidates so that they can work toward whatever goal they had next in their career or their personal life. So I signed up for the program. I was matched with an incredible mentor within the bank. And at that time, I met her. She's absolutely amazing, Shireen. I'm sharing her name because she's amazing, and I want her to listen to this because I know that she will be proud of me. And so, what I did, Miguel, is I connected with this person, and this is when I encountered that there was something that I was missing. Even though my story, yes, it's successful, I'm gradually, so my story is not about, yes, she started as a sales associate and went to a manager or director. No, that's not my story. My story is a gradual strategic steps, right? So what I was lacking at that time, Miguel, was a mentor who would help me understand and would remind me of the greatness that I am capable of achieving. So I was thinking, okay, I'm going to apply to an internal job at the bank because I absolutely love Scotiabank and I align to their values, etc. And I was thinking, no, maybe right now it's not the greatest time. I am a new mom who came back from maternity leave less than a year ago. And I was, maybe putting some self doubt. And I was saying, yes, I know that I'm going to achieve that, but maybe right now it's not the time. My mentor was key in letting me know, Gabriela, you are already at that level. Now it's just a matter of you getting the formal title, and you are
Right.
ready and you don't need to wait. So the power of mentorship, Miguel, for me has been gaining more confidence and going to, pursuing my goals, not in a year, not in 6 months from now, but doing it now. So mentorship is absolutely powerful, and by just being in with my mentor and in within 2 months of being working with her on one-to-one meetings and being part of this mentorship program where I learned from people who were also part of other mentees, other mentors, I was able to land my managerial job while being in the program. So I just needed that extra push, go for it, go for it, go for it,
Exactly.
because it's already yours. And that's what people need. And Miguel, I was so inspired also with listening to you and your mentorship story because I know you are a big fan and a testament of the power of mentorship. I was so inspired by you, by others, by my mentor, by my peers. And I was like, you know what? I don't want just to experience that and keep it for myself. As I mentioned at the beginning of the call, I'm someone who likes to be of service of others because I believe that is where greatness it is defined.
Right.
What do you do for others? How do you give a hand to your peer, to people in your community, to to a stranger, to whatever, right? So that's where I said, you know what, I don't want to only benefit from the mentorship program, I want to help run it and make it bigger so that it can impact more people. And that's how I eventually became the program lead, and then now I'm very humble and honored to be the program director, where I have helped this small program with big goals becomes something bigger that is impacting
Huge,
Scotiabankers across Canada and now Scotiabankers across Mexico and other countries
right?
with a team of people who are just like me, are very passionate about mentorship because we have discovered that mentorship was the piece that was missing in our journey. And that is the piece that is helping us thrive and be more impactful and be more in alignment to the things that we are meant to be and meant to do.
I love your story. Again, it's like, wow, I want to vote for you for prime minister, to be honest. It's like definitely, I will be so happy to have you run the country. Um, and you're so humble because you just created, you help grow, and with the team, of course, like we have amazing people, but you help grow the mentorship program to the next level. I think up year to date, we have matched close to 500 people and results incredible promotions, more confidence. I've seen the transformation from you personally and also from other people where they were more introvert, more shy, and suddenly, boom, immediately it's like, no, I'm here to do great things, like you were saying. I'm here to fulfill my potential, and it's like done. And they're like now presenting and doing and leading teams. So it's incredible. And I describe myself as an addicted to mentorship because um, just by the power of transformation that it can have in someone's life. Of course, once you take it in and with that hunger that you have, Gabriela, that you put everything on, uh, that's I think that's the secret of your success. By the way, it's like that hunger and that drive and that creativity and curiosity and of course you're a high achiever and you don't give yourself enough for an answer. You just go for it. So I think when people go that way and start a mentorship relationship, of course, like the results are incredible. Like they are just like mind blowing. It's one of the questions that I wanted to ask you was how do you keep motivated? How do you keep so positive? Because of course, as you described, the newcomer journey is like ups and downs, like actually sometimes more downs than ups because sometimes it's like okay this work is terrible or I'm doing something that I'm not meant to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, to your point, like I have four master's degrees, I have this, like my friends back home, they're doing amazing, I'm here like serving coffee. Like how you keep motivated, how you keep positive, how you kind of like take out those negative thoughts and it's like okay no this is what I'm meant to do. If you can share more about that.
Absolutely, Miguel. And Miguel, I'm going to tell you four things that are the main things that keep me motivated. First, and I'm going to expand on them. So, first, I'm going to just mention them. It would be people, it would be gratitude, it would be vision, and reminders. People, gratitude, vision, and reminders. So, people around me have helped me keep myself motivated and go through the difficult parts of life, the frustrations. So, for anyone listening to this, you need people because you need supporters. You need people who are going to be there for you in the good times and the bad times. I would not be here today. I would not have this successful story as you have um, called it, Miguel. Thank you for that. If I didn't have people by my side, and that includes my husband, my family, my parents, my friends, other newcomers who are also in the same journey. So that has been key to keeping me motivated because people are trusting me, people are believing in me, and people I know that they will be there even if things go south or go the way that I wanted to. The second thing would be gratitude. So gratitude keeps me motivated because I have learned through my journey, Miguel, to see my present and my past as a gift that I am very honored and humbled to have, and I appreciate it. So, gratitude is another thing that keeps me motivated. The third thing would be vision. So, my vision has kept me motivated because I don't focus on what I have today and what I have accomplished in the past or what the things that I have struggled with in the past. I look ahead and my vision is not like this, my vision is like this. Because our eyes are on purpose at the top of our body and they have a wide range. So my vision is clearly focus on the things that I have accomplished. And any day that I feel defeated, frustrated, that I want to cry, or that I want to give up, I remind myself of my vision and I'm working towards that. And right now, yes, I have accomplished many things, but my vision has many more things, many more great things. Not because I am selfish and I want things for myself. I want to accomplish things in my vision because I want to be impactful and inspiring for others ahead of me. Sorry, that are, yes, that are ahead in my journey, and that are, by my side, by my community, etc. So have a vision, and that will keep you motivated. And the fourth and last, this is very key. This is very key, and this is reminders. What I mean about with reminders is remind. I have reminded myself that I am meant to accomplish great things. I remind myself that I am powerful, that I am capable of doing anything in which I put my time and my effort. I remind myself that my role, my title at my job does not define me. I am not a manager. I'm much more than that because I'm more than what I do professionally. I am a mother, I am a wife, I am a friend, I am a colleague, and much more. So, reminders are key to motivation because as human beings, our nature is to forget things, right? Maybe we're forgetting, why am I doing this? Why did I get into this? Why did I sign up for another master's? Why did I take this job? Or why did I do that? We need to remind ourselves that we are great, that we are capable of doing things, that our role doesn't define us, that we have so many things ahead of us that are there have our name in there. So I know, Miguel, that there's things that have Miguel Abascal. Their name is there, and they're just there for you to get there, whenever what you said earlier, because I really love what you said about preparedness and the opportunity, right? That's when you accomplish great things. And I know that there's things out there that have Gabriela Gutierrez on there. Like, I don't have them yet, but they have my name there. And I am reminding myself that it's a matter of time and effort and dedication that I will get there. So people, gratitude, vision, and reminders are the key of my story. And I hope that those are things that can help others too in their journey to accomplish and fulfill their potential.
Oh wow, Gabby, that's incredible. Yeah, so many more, but I probably we can have more material for another episode. My last question to you would be: if you had a billboard that can all the newcomers in Canada and different countries can have access, what will your message be for newcomers in that billboard?
Okay, that's a great question. I would say, Miguel, and really very interesting. I would say that my billboard would say, life will sometimes bring you things on a silver platter, right? Sometimes life will bring you things on a silver platter. But if life doesn't, create your own silver platter and put in there everything you wish for and work really hard to get it. So if life doesn't give you things on a silver platter, create it yourself and put in there whatever you want because you're capable of achieving that.
I love that, Gabby. Oh wow, reminds me of you either find your way or you make your way. But exactly to your point, it's like
Exactly.
that's how things get
Exactly.
done. Well, I appreciate so much.
Exactly. And Miguel,
Yes.
yeah, and I just want to say, so since you brought this question and I was not really prepared to say that, but I think, like, I, as I mentioned, I'm a testament of being just who you are, right? And that's what naturally just came to my mind. But if I can connect this piece of advice that I gave to my story, is things didn't come to me on a silver platter, right? I worked hard for that. I created my own silver platter, and that's how I made strategic decisions, um, to put another piece on my silver platter. And my silver platter is different from someone else's because what makes my silver platter great is that it's my
Yeah.
own, and that it comes from what I truly want deep from my heart, right? So along my story, I just want to share something that I haven't shared, Miguel, but I think it's key for the audience to listen. So at some point when I got the administrative job that I was mentioning, that I was hired like on the spot, The next day when sorry that the same day when I got back home, I celebrated with my husband and I told him, you know what, like, hey, I got the job, they really liked me and they hired me on the spot. I don't need to be a volunteer, they are willing to just skip that part and give me the permanent position right away. And I was so excited. That same day, Miguel, I got a call from another company that I had applied for, and they offered me a job that same day for a manager role at a retail
Oh,
store.
wow.
So I found myself in the position of, do I take the non the admin job? So I was an administrative associate, right, or assistant. So it's,
Mhm.
something that I at that time was great, right? And then I was like, okay, now there's the manager role at a retail store. And I was like, okay, what do I do? To be honest, Miguel, I gave my word to the hiring manager and the HR person saying, yes, I'm gonna take the job. I hadn't signed the contract yet at that time when I got the other call the same day. And to me, my word means a lot, right? So I was like, okay, I gave my word, I'm gonna stick to that. But then of course I thought, okay, like, should I take that other job? That other job was paying a little bit more than my admin job. So I was like, okay, do I want short term
Yeah.
a short term, like, bigger salary, slightly bigger, not much to be honest, or do I want this admin job that pays me less, but I feel so connected with the organization's mission? Long story short, Miguel, I made a strategic decision, and this is something that I want to give my message to the audience. Make strategic decisions. What you see at the present time as a better opportunity is not necessarily the best opportunity, because it's not going to lead you to your vision, to your goal. So Miguel, made the decision to just say no, thank you, to that other opportunity, because I was not focusing on the title. Yes, I wanted to be a manager. Remember that I told you, right? I wanted to be a manager, but I was like, yeah, but I want to be a manager in a different environment, because a different environment aligns more to what I like. So to the newcomers or the individuals listening here, like, make those decisions thinking about the future, because the present lasts very little,
Right.
but the future ahead of you holds so much. And what the decisions that you make are going to make a difference. So if I had taken that retail manager role, I wouldn't be where I am right
Right.
now. I would be in a different path, right? And right now, to be honest, I'm very fulfilled. I love what I do right now, and I have much more that I'm ambitioning or thinking or seeing myself in. I know that there's more ahead of me. So that was key. And the reason why I'm bringing this up right now, Miguel, is because I want to tie it to the silver platter metaphor that I just shared. By making that decision, I said, okay, is this, administrative role fits best with my platter or that other piece?
Right.
So I, did a lot of thinking. I was like, yes, no, thank you. This is what fits best
I love that.
in Gabriela Gutierrez platter, right? Maybe in another individual it could be the other role, right? Because maybe it aligns more with what they want. So your silver platter is your very own. I'm not going to compare it to someone else. Sometimes we're tempted, to compare ourselves to others, but at the end of the day, as I said earlier, being yourself is your superpower. And being true to myself means, what do I want? What do I wish for? How do I see myself? And what do I want someday to share with my 3-year-old daughter? Right now, she's very little and she's not going to understand if I start talking about my career, my profession.
Right.
She's going to say, Mom, what's that? But I know that years from now, I'm going to have stories to share with her. And I'm going to be humbled and honored to say, these are the decisions that I made along the way. And I feel confident that they were the right decisions based on the knowledge, the skills, and the ability that I had at that time. So, to anyone listening, Miguel, to your fantastic audience, like, be strategic with the decisions that you make. Think about your future. Think about what you want, because you are capable, absolutely capable of achieving that. If you put the effort, if you are resilient. My story is a lot about resilience. Like, there were things that went, yeah, they can sound kind of, yeah, as you said, like, things were not just given to me. Like, even if it sounds like, yes, I got
Right.
my job offers, like, on the spot, or the same day, right? But I have worked hard to be there. So for anyone listening, build your silver platter with what you want. Don't build it with what you see in others, because everyone is achieving their own. story and their own journey of excellence in their own terms.
Exactly. I love your analogy of silver platter because for me, that means it's like creating your own definition of success. What is my success formula? What is my success recipe? And
Exactly.
which ingredients are
Exactly.
going to be more bigger and smaller? And to your point, like be true to yourself, be yourself as a superpower, having stories to share with your daughter about like, hey, your mom did this or made that, teaching her how to have critical thinking, how to decide by herself. So all of these it's in that platter that you mentioned, and it's like, oh, and I am a witness to say, yes, Gabby, you are doing incredible, and I'm super excited that we had a chance to have this conversation. I know that we can have more because definitely there's so much to share, but let's keep it short for the first one, and then I can invite you more for the next ones. But one word I want to say is that thank you so much. I'm super grateful. Listening to your story every time is like, wow, I get goosebumps. I get electrified, inspired. I want to be better. I want to be like, yes, just like Gabriela said, I think I can do this as well. So thank you for giving us and be so generous with your knowledge, your wisdom, and any last words before we call it a day?
Any last words? Keep going, keep moving forward.
I agree. I love that.
And Miguel, thank you so much. I'm very happy and honored to be here with you. And thank you to all the audience who have listened this far. Thank you for you, Miguel, for building this platform that is truly powerful. Because I believe that there's many people out there that need to listen to our stories. You know, your story, my stories, the stories of those guest speakers that you have invited. Um, as you remember, if you might remember from the four things that I shared, one of the things was people. We need people, and because we need their stories, we need their support to keep motivated, to keep going forward. I appreciate that you have created this. I wish you success, and I wish success to every single person listening to this. Keep going forward, keep working towards your goal, because you are meant to achieve great things, and great things that are defined based on your own terms.
I
Thank you,
love that.
Miguel, and thank you to the audience.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Gabriela. To your success. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye bye. Thank you, Miguel.
Hey there, thank you so much for listening or watching another episode of Newcomers on Fire. We truly appreciate it. If you love this episode, please help us by sharing on social media. Your support can make a big difference in growing this platform. When you share it with your friends and family, you are helping new people find their way and make their dreams a reality. The more you share, the more lives we can impact. So let's work together to inspire others who might not even know about us yet. Next week, we're continuing on our journey of how to communicate your value. We have an incredible story that is going to inspire you. Picture this: a newcomer to Canada who speaks Spanish and had only basic English skills. She works hard on her communication skills, decides to participate in a Toastmaster competitions against native speakers, and she wins. She has some fantastic tips and insights to share. You will learn the secrets of successful communication, the importance of making new connections, and the value of volunteering. You don't want to miss this one. Remember, this podcast is just the starting point. The real magic happens in our Newcomers on Fire community. If you are doing great, awesome. Pay it forward and help someone else live a better life. And if you're still finding your way, know that you are not alone. Come and join us for a chat and let's navigate this journey together. Stay inspired, stay motivated, and keep moving forward. Until next time, to your success.
We hope you enjoyed this show and that it helps you to find your way or make your way. If you found value, share it with someone who needs it. Until next time, to your success.